Hey everybody, hi, it's Pat here. I am back from a month on the road, and while I didn't do my Facebook Live yesterday with you, because I was on the road and I typically do it on Monday, I wanted to do it today so I could do a check-in with you. And, before I left on my trip, I shared some of my pre-trip checklist items, if you will, things to do and consider as you're heading out on the road for a business trip. And I often get asked, what is your routine like when you get back from a business trip? So that's why I'm here to share those with you. I have 3 great tips plus a bonus tip for you today. Post business travel. I don't care if it's a day or a week or a month. I don't care if it is within your province or state or country, or you're going out of the country. These work. So the first one is, now if you've been following me on Facebook, you would know this past month has been quite the adventure. And so I've been here, there, and everywhere, across the border, up north, down south. And so one of the things that I do to stay organized, because it's really easy to let this get out of hand, but I take a bunch of plain white envelopes with me. I stash them in my way, and depending on the number of stops, so for example, my first stop was Denver, which is in the United States. Then I was moving back up to Canada. So the reason I have these envelopes is I put the location on here, and I'll mark US dollars and all the receipts for anything that happened business related while I'm in Denver. At the end of each day, before I go to sleep, the receipts go in this envelope. And then when I'm ready to leave Denver, I move on to another location. This envelope goes into my suitcase. And so then I move to Canada, which is what happened on this trip. And so as you can appreciate, the US dollar and the Canadian dollar, the expenses are different, the calculation is different, and this makes it so easy for my bookkeeper and my accountant. So then when I'm in Canada, whatever location, I was in Vancouver, so the receipts go in this envelope. Now I think I was in about 10 places on this particular trip. So all these envelopes get piled up, bundled together, clipped, and over to the bookkeeper. Easy peasy. Now also, of course, on each receipt to be writing down whether it's a lunch meeting with somebody or a cab fare or whatever the case might be. But document on your receipts, tuck them in here on a daily basis, and that makes it so much easier when you come back, particularly for extended travel. So that's one thing that I do. The other question I get a lot is, how in the heck do I manage being in so many different hotels or Airbnb or wherever the case, wherever I am? There are some tricks that I use. Well, not tricks. These are strategies I use because sleep, for those of you who know me, sleep is essential to keep my energy high and to keep on moving and to stay at peak performance when I'm on the road. So one of the things that I've done is to buy the Oprah and Deepak meditation series. So I have that on my phone right here. I'm not sure if you can see it. La la la. Yeah, right. Where is it? It's right here. And so I have that app on my phone. Now I meditate twice a day when I'm away. So I also have on here, right on there, is it's hard to see, isn't it? There, Headspace. See that? There we go, the Headspace app. So that's a free app. And the Headspace app, I do that for 10 minutes midday. And then at night, after I put lavender essential oil on the balls of my feet, thanks to my friend Wanda McKay, who is a representative for doTERRA. So I put lavender oil on the balls of my feet. Now I'm highly sensitive to fragrances, but essential oil on the ball of my feet, way away from my nose, works for me. So I'll put the essential oil on, I do my gratitude journal, and then when I lay down, then I put on the meditation app with Oprah and Deepak. It's typically a 20-minute meditation. I'll tell you, sleep like a baby every night. So you may want to get into that habit when you're away in different environments, different altitudes, different atmosphere. That really does help a lot for a good night's sleep. Now, one of the habits that goes along with that is that I always go to bed at the same time, 10 p.m., and I get up at 6 a.m., 6-ish. So it doesn't matter where I am or what I'm doing. Now, that might fluctuate. Remember the 80-20 rule. Depends where you are. But for the most part, and particularly on extended trips, even on weekends, I pretty much stick to that schedule. So That's what really helps me in the sleeping world when I'm in different places. So the meditation app really helps. The essential oil really helps. So if you want to get some of that, just contact me and I'll connect you with Wanda. Now, the other thing that I'm asked often, and I want to talk to you about success habits, is in the past, when I was particularly highly driven and fast tracking my business, I would get back from a business trip, didn't matter how long it was, again, and that first morning after, I would just be out of bed and jump right back into routine. And that would be multitasking routine in the return from my travel. So I'd have the laundry going, I'd be running out for groceries because my fridge is empty, I'd be on email, I'd get into team meetings, and it would be like rush, rush, rush. I don't do that anymore. It's so critically important to take care of yourself. Travel can be very challenging these days and very tiring and weary. Even my flight last night was delayed. You know, I was so anxious to get home for Dancing with the Stars, but the flights were delayed, and it can make for a very long travel day. And so now my routine post-trip, first morning, it includes things like yoga classes, a massage. I have my acupuncture scheduled. I make sure that in the few days after my travel that self-care is a top priority. And so that's critically important. And so I do have the acupuncture scheduled. I've got a hair appointment scheduled, yoga scheduled. So consider those things when you're on extensive travel. And, you know, here's the other thing. I have an amazing team. And I know for sure that this month on the road would not have been the success that it was without my team. And so I also have an out of office message on there. You know, when I'm on the road like that, of course, out of office says expect a delayed response to my emails and so on. But my clients know how to reach me, and certainly my high level, my private clients. And I do some work when I'm on the road. But when I'm attending conferences and I'm speaking and so on, then no, email's not a priority. But I do stay on top of it. So one of the tips, bonus tips I want to give to you is to manage this, is to again schedule your time. And so chunk your time. I had calls scheduled for very first thing in the morning, and I was on Pacific time. So I had those calls scheduled for early in the morning, got them done, and then got on with it, whether I was having some vacation time or whether it was work time for some other event. And so, yeah, and so this is, you know, what I was sharing with you about the post-trip. It's what my bonus tip that I call the morning after. And I was saying with some of my friends, you know, when you've been around and you've been in so many beds, and kind of have to elaborate and explain what that's all about. But seriously, it was pack, unpack, pack, unpack. The self-care piece really comes into play. So get organized, keep your life easy, and especially for your bookkeeper. And so use the envelopes. Be sure to exercise, hydrate, get your sleep, use the meditation app, and take good care of yourself when you're on the road. And when you come back, you don't necessarily have to jump right back into the jungle of life. And so that's what I wanted to share with you today. Good tips, they work for me, and they can work for you too. But also, and I'll add it again, having an amazing team who supports me when I'm on the road, I can't do it without them. So a big shout out to them. That's it. Those are my post-travel tips for you. All right, so when you hit the road, think of me, have my voice in your head, and take good care. Thanks for being here. Bye, everyone.